Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tea with Krema. My name is Chris. I'll be one of your hosts today, and I'm joined by my best friend, Emma.
We're back.
We are super, super excited. It has been a month. We took that time off, enjoyed it, loved it, but now we are back ready to go with a brand new season of the Tea with Krema. We have so many details, so many things to tell you. But before we begin, we definitely still have our tea check. So, Emma, what tea did you bring today?
Because it's a new season, gotta start it off strong. Plot twist, I'm actually moving and I don't have a water heater. So I'm actually drinking iced tea today. It is a Keating lemon tea. It is the best tea in the world. It is so good. It's like the best thing to drink in Japan. One of those things I really look forward to for summertime because it's just like it's out and it's about and I love it. What are you drinking today, Chris?
Today I tried a powdered tea, which was quite interesting. It is a Okinawa brown sugar milky flavor tea, and it really reminds me of the types of teas that you might find at a boba place. And it's definitely missing the boba. I don't know what those tapioca balls be adding to the tea, but every time I sip it, I'm just like, I'm missing that experience. But I'm also not good at making boba myself. So when I try to make it myself, it still doesn't taste right. But in any case, it's a cute little tea. It's very easy to make. A little odd that like it's a tea, but it dissolves. So I don't really understand. But that is neither here nor there. The point is we're both starting the season strong with teas, even if they're a little non-traditional. Diving back into our relaunch episode. So we did some soul searching over the time that we were off enjoying our break. And we realized that one of the things that we'll have to do in this relaunch is actually announce the start of season 4.
Four. And you might be confused because we have said in the past, we're not good at numbers.
We're just out here doing our best. But yes, it's season 4. I can't believe we've been doing it long enough to say that we're on season 4. It still kind of sort of feels like just yesterday that we were just getting started, learning all the mechanics, figuring out like, what is podcasting? How do we do all this? Learning our dynamic and all of the things that go into it. So we are grateful, excited, and ready to start the new season, season 4. I will say also season 4 is starting 2 weeks later than originally planned. Again, if you know anything about the Tea with Krema, stuff just be happening. So what had happened was we recorded an episode because we were ready for the relaunch. I started editing it, and then about a third of the way through, I was like, why does it sound like Emma and I have never recorded an episode before? And we don't know who each other are. Like, we've never met before. It was like the most awkward experience I think I've ever listened to. And it was like, I text Emma, I was like, we can't drop this episode. And then to like make things worse, we recorded the episode like right before the day the relaunch was supposed to be. So of course we couldn't record again in time for the relaunch. So it's just been a mad dash to the imaginary start line that we set for ourselves again for season 4. But we are bringing you a high quality relaunch episode. And as a super surprise treat, there will also be the original episode dropping today that was also scheduled to drop. So we are starting season 4, ready to go, relaunching. Very excited with that bonus content for you as well.
It's almost like we went on a first date with each other. So good to know that wouldn't have gone well ever.
Just really, really awkward. But maybe, just maybe, if there's enough interest, I'll consider trying to finish editing that episode, and we'll just relaunch it and drop it as like a
blooper,
a weird little bonus feature, a little blooper, if you will, just like the Tea with Krema bonus scenes.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Blooper reel.
I don't even think I want to see it. Now that after you had mentioned it, I was thinking about it. I was like, we didn't even mention anything about anything important.
When I say one of the questions was literally,
what's your name?
I don't know, y'all. We just forgot how to like write episodes, record episodes. It was wild. We are really excited for the launch of season 4 and wanted to make sure our episode actually conveyed that excitement and did not sound like a really weird first date.
plot twist, that is the new love episode this year. It is going to be what a first date between Chris and I would have actually looked like. I think,
So what's your name again?
What's your name? I know you said it at the beginning when you said, hi, my name is Chris and this is my best friend, Emma. I don't know why I put that in there. I was the one who wrote the questions. I would like to chalk it up to jet lag. Like, I had just arrived back in Tokyo and Chris and I literally planned out our week because he started back at school. I'm moving to a new place in Tokyo. It was a whole thing that I was like, this is literally our only day. And right after we finished the episode, I was like, yep, that went fine. Closed the laptop, packed it into the boxes, said deuces, was in my new apartment. And Chris goes, no. Immediately, what's the opposite of relaunch? De-launch?
Shelf it. Put it back on the shelf.
Lock her up. The Disney vault needs to reopen and put that inside of it. Close it along with Beauty and the Beast.
We did our best. It was really awkward, but it's okay. We're back. We figured it out. We did enjoy our break. We enjoyed our summers. And it's obvious because it was a great way to get back and try to like be awkward on an episode. So that's how you knew we really enjoyed it.
We enjoyed it. We enjoyed our summer so much. We forgot how to podcast, guys. So that is what we are here for today. We're truly trying to hype it up. But because it is our fourth season, we do have some episodes that we have really liked. You know, we have our top 3 episodes. And if you've been following along on our Instagram, you've seen those posts. So if, Chris, you want to give out a shout out to your top 3 episodes and maybe a brief blurb if the people want to listen to it, that'd be good too.
I think that would be amazing because I realized we've never really looked back at any of the seasons because we were just like, it's one big season. So just a little breakdown. My absolute favorite episodes are just ones that, for the most part, I just thought were really funny to record. So that's definitely like one of my top factors was, were these ones really funny? The last one would probably be just something that I just really enjoyed getting to think through and talk about in no particular order, but low-key favorites order. My favorite episodes are Am I the Asshole? He's a 10, but, and our Dream Houses episode. Again, those first 2 episodes were just really funny. I had a really good time preparing for and recording those episodes. The Dream House episode was just a lot of fun I'm always talking about houses and my future home and all of those little features and things, but it was nice to just dream about it, talk about it, put it all into words, manifest it, because I'm really good at manifestations. And so, maybe that episode will probably come true for me in the near far future, like my next life or something. So who knows? Near far future. That's exactly how I want to live life, in the near far future. With the Am I the A-hole, that was episode 37. The He's a 10 but is episode 42, and Dream Homes is episode 33. Just in case you guys want to go back and listen to those, you can see that those are Chris's favorites. Those are some of my favorites as well. Personally, though, and maybe this is selfishly, my favorite episodes were most recently episode 61, which was Happily Ever After. I was just telling Chris that this was an episode where I really got to vent about the mishaps of that day. And, there's sometimes where I'm just like, oh, I loved my wedding. And then there's sometimes where something will just like irk me. And I was like, that's why we didn't have a good wedding. A callback, if you will. Something will just trigger it. And I'm like, oh, that's why we're redoing it again, because that was not a good first time around. Episode 32, Dear Past Krema, is also one of my favorites. I really like thinking about talking to like college aged us. I think because I work with high schoolers, I do, I see that time when they're just like so awkward. And I always think to myself, like, if I could go back, what is the advice I would give myself? And then episode 41, which is one of our hot takes, was on student loan forgiveness, which again, should not be a hot take, but it is. And so I felt like that was one of our episodes where we were so quick with it. Like, it was announced that it might happen. We did our episode, and then now we know how it kind of panned out. But it was really cute to think about for a second. In case you did miss the ruling, the Supreme Court said, no, thank you. Can't do that. Everyone, you keep your loan debt. No forgiveness. You keep it. But
There is a restructuring in the student loan process, which I'm hoping will, eventually help a lot of us first gen college students in the long run. I think that'll be, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm not skeptical, but I am hopeful. So yeah. Also over the years, we've had many guests who we are so thankful to. We've also just featured them on our Instagram as well. If you'd like to see that, some of them are recurring guests. We're about to start something. What is it called, Chris? The Krema 5?
The Tea with Krema, at the 5-time club, just like, if you've seen SNL, once you've hosted the show a certain number of times. So I don't know, maybe there'll be a jacket. Probably not. We already spent a lot of money doing the podcast, but
maybe a pin. Tote bag?
Like a pin, a little something, once you've been on the podcast a certain number of times. But we definitely have some people that are getting up there. So we do want to give a shout out and a special thanks to our guests, including Shemaine, Isaac, Brian, Now, What the Trio, Ironique, Rosa, Jeffrey, and Justice. It has been so awesome to have y'all on the show. It was like such a fun experience. I enjoy talking to Emma. I do. Truly, I do. We have a whole podcast about it. But it's also really nice to just have conversations with other people as well. It's a lot of fun. Those different experiences, the small business perspectives that we've learning more about podcasting, love, getting the spotlight off of me. Thank you, Irony. Parenting, just all of the things that you get to learn about. And so we are super grateful, super thankful to have had you all on the podcast. And we're definitely looking forward to having you and more on the podcast in season 4.
Woo, 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 woo. And also, guys, I finally met my goal and brought a person that Chris doesn't know on the show. One time. We're killing it so far. Again, Emma doesn't have lots of friends. Chris does. So thank you to all of Chris's friends for showing up on the show. Now it's also my best friend, but Chris had already met her, so it didn't count apparently. So yeah, shout out to Rosa for also being my first guest, but also shout out to all of Chris's friends for being so willing to come on our show.
We're super thankful. We've already kind of we've gotten better at planning the podcast. There were definitely some episodes that we had planned 2 minutes before recording. As we've started season 4, we've realized we have episodes that we love to do traditionally, episodes like our vision boards, something that we get to talk about and reflect on and actually make tangible products with. We have our love episode that I love to dodge, dip, duck, and dive out of every time. At this point, again, we got recurring guests that have been on the show multiple times and will continue to be. And now we have some super exciting episodes already kind of planned out for season 4. So Emma, if you had maybe just 1 or 2 episodes that you've looked at and you're actually I'm really low-key, high-key excited for this episode coming up in season 4.
So our next episode, which you're about to listen to, is the pre-75 soft. I'm going to call it that because we all know what happened in this episode. So you just got to listen to hear this wild ride that I had, Chris being my spiritual, mental, something guide. And you can hear how he convinces me to do something that I just was not even planning to do, which is just the power of Chris. I'm also really excited to do an episode on school lunches. I'm also just I have to throw it out there because then we have to do the episode. And after being in a school for this past week and eating the lunch, I was no, this episode is happening. I love school lunch. I don't know what the logistics of this episode looks like. It's really just an idea, but it's coming. What are some of the things that you're excited for?
I think one of the more surprising things that I'm excited for, the one that you're probably wait, I'm sorry, he said what? I'm very excited for our Super Bowl halftime show review episode. Actually, I don't know what it was. It just hit me after the last Super Bowl halftime show because, but I'm super excited to actually look at them because I have surprisingly strong opinions. Maybe not surprisingly, I don't know, but I got opinions on those Super Bowl halftime shows. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting. And then I think I'm also really, really excited about our Growing Up Mormon episode, which again, I'm speaking into existence because I feel it's one of those ones that if I don't say it out loud, it'll maybe kind of just slip away and we won't talk about it. And it's mostly because I have spent a weird amount of time this summer learning about Mormonism and I've developed some really strong opinions. And I just want to talk to someone who can either dispel or confirm these opinions, because it's very strong opinions here, because it's wild. It's wild out there.
And it's so sad because Chris will ask me, and I mean, I was a practicing Mormon for so long, but there's just like a lot of history that I'm really like starting to dive into right now, like really deconstructing my faith and looking into all of those different things, that when Chris asked me a question, I was like, yeah, you're right. That is effed up. I'm sorry. Like, they don't teach you that in school. I mean, they do, and we just kind of write it off as normal. So that is, I think, where I'm also really excited about that episode too. So calling out all my fellow Jack Mormons, non-practicing Mormons, if you're interested in coming on the show, holla at your girl.
Because again, I got opinions, so I'm ready for it.
And someone needs to help, also like validate / dispel these things, because I don't think I will do such a good job. I know I've not practiced since I was about 14 years old. So it's been a quick minute.
It's going to be a great season. I'm super excited. We have the ideas, and this will be the first season that we're doing a guest produced episode. So that will be, or an audience produced episode, I think would be like the better term for it, where, you guys will be able to pick the topic. You'll be able to write the questions and really direct this episode. So I'm really curious if it's going to be an episode that is logical, sequential, it makes sense, or if it's going to be one of those ones where it's just like a bunch of random questions somehow just like win and get thrown together, and then we just gotta make a wild ride happen. I'm down for either one. So
it sounds like it's going to be a good ride. But I think what I'm most excited about is also, the way that our show has definitely like shifted and how it's grown and evolved since the beginning. Chris and I started this journey / podcast when we were coming out of the pandemic and going right back into teaching, and we were really traumatized from that whole experience and looked into therapy options and was like, actually, people have told us we're funny and we should have a podcast. So why don't we just like do that cute little thing instead? Because I can't afford therapy. And just seeing the way that it's evolved to now, this is something Chris and I do. We're an ocean apart, very far away from each other, and to like really just like catch up with each other. It's kind of one of our hobbies that we do together, because Chris and I really just enjoy shooting the
breeze.
Shooting the breeze. Is that the perfect? I mean, that was a nice word.
That's the PC way.
I mean, you already said a-hole in the full word, so I don't think I can. Are we only?
I know how to bleep myself out.
You still like bleep out breeze?
Could you imagine?
So we're super excited to like have y'all back on this journey with us. I feel like year 4, we're really trying to wait. What year are we?
I don't think it's actually year 4. I don't know what year it is anymore, but it's season 4. I know that it's definitely season 4.
Season 4. We are so excited. We feel like we've kind of, we're in our groove now. We've kind of figured out all of those kinks and things like that. So, really looking forward to having y'all along on the journey. If you've been here since episode 1, props to you. Shout out to you, specifically to Nahan, because I know you listen to us on your commute home.
I love how we're like, oh yes, we've worked out the kinks in season 4, as it's 2 weeks late because of kinks that we hadn't worked out.
But we worked out the other kinks. I think things can fall apart. I think in my head, I was like, wow, we're like killing it. And Chris was like, this is terrible. Chris keeps us on Earth. I like to live in the clouds and really live in my delusions.
It's okay. We'll post a poll, and if enough people are like, post it, we'll find a way to work it in there, and then you can be like, oh, that was bad.
That was bad. That was a good
Why y'all like this?
Take 1.
So with that, keeping it up with all of the seasons, it's time for our
rapid fire question.
And for anyone who was like, oh my God, I love the old sound effects that Emma used to make, they're not coming back. I did too much work getting the official ones. So I just want to squash the rumor now.
I've been shut down multiple times, guys. I tried for us, aka just you, Jeffrey.
AI won in this case.
And it's okay. We love it because we did spend 2 years looking for it. So here we go. What is a quote or motto that you live by?
I think one that I really like from the book Life of Pi, there's a part where they talk about choosing doubt as a way of life is akin to choosing immobility as a method of transportation. And I just really like it because I really do be doubting myself a lot. And I don't always trust my gut. And it usually is, in hindsight, one of those like, oh man, had I just gone with what I thought at first. And so I think it really encourages me to just like be out there, trust myself, do it, go for it. It'll be fine.
Yes, I love that. And that was like really spot on. That was like right here for you. I have two that I like to live by. One I used to tell my students my first year of teaching because someone had told it to me. And I was like, actually, this is a mantra that both of us are saying all the time. So it's, I am capable, I am able, I got this. And then the second one was something that one of my mentors had told me throughout university when I was just like constantly doubting myself. And she was like, you just got to go out there and be impressive. And everything that you do, like you will be impressive because you're the first to do a lot of things. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So anyone, if you're ever doubting yourself, go out there, just be impressive. You showing up, that is impressive too, you know?
Half the time, showing up is half the battle. I know me in particular will show all the way up to a place and then freak out and then drive off. So go ahead, get out the car, walk in, talk to the people, ask a question. It'll be fine. The worst thing that they'll do is be like, when you're gone and you don't even know, they'll be like, that man was asking really weird questions. But it's fine. You'll
never see them again.
They could also be like, wow, he was asking really good questions. Like we hadn't even thought about that, because that happens too sometimes. You just never know. You won't know until you try.
Mm-hmm. What's your question today?
My question is, would you rather get $10,000 cash in hand or get $10 million, but you have to fight a bear for 5 minutes?
5 minutes?
Yeah.
Do I have to like actively fight it, or can I like run around? Or just not die in the 5 minutes?
Yeah, no one said you had to beat the bear. You just have to like not die.
Oh,
because there's no inheritance. It's not like, oh, she sacrificed herself and your family gets the $10 million. Like, if you die, no one gets the $10 million.
No, I'm doing the 10 million. I think I could run out. I think I could run for 5 minutes.
That's crazy.
Zigzag. I think that's what they said, right? You got to go zigzag. Actually, I think that's actually a myth. I think the zigzag doesn't actually work because the bear would just run straight.
It's okay because you've committed yourself to this bear fight, so
that's it. It is what it is.
Your zigzags work for you.
That's me. What are you doing?
$10,000 cash? Are you insane?
You're not gonna. I feel like you could outrun a bear, though.
No, you cannot. You physically cannot outrun a bear. No one can outrun a bear, Emma.
I think you could not die for 5 minutes.
Someone has not watched enough National Geographic to know that if it comes down to you and a bear, it's
me every time. Just kidding.
It's going to be the bear every time. Could you imagine? And then like the wild part is that you don't know what species of bear it is. So you might get a black bear where like technically, actually that would be the only bear.
That's the little ones, right?
Get away with the little, literally like the little North American. But size isn't the only thing, because there are also sloth bears, which are like dog size, smaller than dogs, and are absolutely insane and will maul you worse than a black bear. So like that would be worse.
I haven't actually seen enough National Geographic on bears. I enjoy I enjoy a good aquatic animal National Geographic.
Yeah, you gotta get it. And then the absolute worst would be like you show up to the ring and then it's a polar bear.
Oh god, they're big.
They are big, they are fast.
I'm hoping it's an open arena. It's not like favorable conditions for them.
Oh my gosh. Well, 10,000, easy. I'm not arguing with no bear. That's it. Well, Emma, where can people find the podcast?
You can find our podcast on Instagram and Facebook at The Tea with Krema. If you'd like to send us a cup of tea, you can also Venmo us at The Tea with Krema. You can also listen to our podcast on your favorite streaming platforms, and we hope to see you next time. Bye!